doing some live painting. My goal is to get Rasputin done tonight, and for us to move on and go forward and conquer the rest of our Hellboy minis, so we can get some gameplay for you guys, and actually get the game, actually review the game. So what I'm doing now, I'm just going back in, just making sure that I got a good coat of paint on my beard here. I'll be doing some other little innovations to it as well. But we are going to get this mini painted. I know we've been working on these guys for a while. I have quite a lot of them still to paint. I mean, I'm starting off specifically with the main characters, or like the boss characters, bad guys, and then we'll paint the rest of the good guy characters, your what's the best way to put it, call it your agent picks, so the characters that you can cooperatively play. Together. And what I'm doing now, I'm just continuing the technique that we had started on the last stream, where I'm just going in and painting in those areas. And like I said before, because I was getting a little bit of a lighter variation on some of these, I said in the last stream I may have to go in and touch up some of them, give it a second coat, if you will. Just to bring a little bit more of that gray into it. So that I can give him a little bit more so you can see as we turn him and pivot him now, that gray is really making a big difference in that color. Now I'm just patting it in so that I get a nice full coat of that gray. And this will make that gray a little bit darker. So we're seeing less of the white. And as always, if you guys have comments or questions, I always love for you guys to let me know what you're thinking. When we do these videos, I'm a huge fan of folks telling me a little bit more about even projects or things that you're working on, or what's on your painting table. And obviously, if you're new to the hobby, or you're new to painting miniatures in general, I always like to give folks pointers or tips. If you have questions, I'm using contrast Citadel paints for these minis, and in general I've moved to really using those those products for my mini painting projects. I have to, yeah, I'm gonna have to move. I have to move a couple of these. I just realized I painted something wrong. I'm going a little bit different with my Rasputin because I want to try out something, but I think I might have already messed up. But I want to start with this light color, and then we'll go into some of his darker colors. But I'm using the contrast system. I've adopted the contrast system for the most part now as my go-to for when I'm doing painting, because I like the way that the contrast is. Yeah, those are beads. I think those are rosary beads. That's what I think. Those were supposed to be blue in the original, but I think I'm gonna stick with the gray. I kind of like the way that the gray looks, and I may go in with a smaller brush and do some, and I'll blacken some of those rosary beads. Or I can go in with a different type of gray, but I kind of like the way that looks. So like I said, we should be getting to a more finished Rasputin tonight, is my hope. But I have a few other little things that we're going to do with Rasputin, or do to him. Like I said, if you guys have questions or comments, so now what I'm doing is I'm just putting in a little bit of a darker gray. So that his beard gets a little bit more dimension to it. And specifically the areas So you can see how with the addition of some of those darker avenues, you should start to see a little bit more dynamic enter the beard. So now the beard should be a little bit more crafted versus before when it was just a little bit more basic. Now I also was thinking about potentially doing this for some of the inside shadows. Is a little tricky though because that paint is still a little wet. So as you can see now how I've gone a little bit deeper into that as well. And then do the same thing on the sleeves, just to give it a little bit more shadowing. So now you can see that gives a little bit more dynamic and drama to that as well. And then what I was gonna do as well, which was a trick that I started using with some of my other minis, we're going to see if it works on this one, which is using a little bit of no, wait, this is a new paint. No, not that. No, that's for the new guys. Where it is small. Oh, actually, we'll try the Gilman. We'll just try to apply more of it to go a little darker. Let's see. So all I'm doing now is I'm just going in and adding. You can see now he's got a little bit more expression as we put in some of that shadowing. Just a little bit, not so you can see there. Now he's got a little bit more of expression. And we do the same thing in the palm of his hands, where I just put the Gilliman a little bit more intense. So we'll give him some shading. I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm losing. You guys, maybe people aren't just staying up because maybe the world's getting different. I don't know. People are getting tired of watching Twitch videos. I don't know. I don't know what's happening, man. Maybe people are just falling out of tabletop games. I feel like I used to get so many more people watching me. Or it's just that I'm doing my videos too late. Is that really maybe the crux of it? Is that I'm doing them way too late, and that's okay too. I understand. Nah. I was gonna try something, but it didn't really work. So you guys can see, I really like how he's coming together. We're gonna do one little other trick, which I want to do, and then if you look, I'm going to do a little bit more touch-up in the amulet department. Because we got to get that looking a little bit better than it does. And then we're going to see where we go from here. I have the other minis, so we can just keep going. And I'll be definitely incorporating some Warhammer stuff, too. Because I know I painted some Warhammer stuff a while ago, and then we stopped painting Warhammer stuff because I got a ton of other minis in. That was like a light tap. I may even do that a little bit more. There it is. So, very light taps. So what you can see is now his eyes really look like they're glowing because we did a little bit of a white pupil in there, so it looks like he's got energy coming through those eyes. He's looking very nice. And then I'm going to do just a little bit of silver. Just to give him a tiny... And again, I want to give a big shout out to Mantic Games for supplying me with the Hellboy board game so I could start to paint these minis for you guys. Hopefully the weather will hold out where I can have what didn't happen with these guys, which is have a better priming experience. Because I feel so bad, but these guys... These guys definitely suffered from an issue with priming. Just wanted to go back over the blue, make it a little bit darker. Just fix any issues or errors that I might have had. With it. But yeah, Manta Games, I have to give them a huge shout out and thank you. Because without their support, I wouldn't have been able to really get all of this stuff. And I'm really looking forward to the Hellboy board game because I know that they have a lot of really cool expansions coming out in the next couple of months. And I can't wait to get those on the table and for us to take a look at those as well. So I'm kind of giving them a preemptive thank you for possibly some of that coming to the channel as well. I think they have like 3 or 4 big expansions coming, and they also have a lot of really cool supplements coming for Kings of War. They have a bunch of new armies coming, so redos of models, so updated models for like their Goblin army and stuff. So there's a lot of really cool stuff coming through the pike for them, and I cannot wait to get myself in there and get those guys on the painting table. 110%. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. Just trying to get this white covered up. Like I said, unfortunately, Rasputin and a lot of the other Hellboy agents, they really do suffer from. It's been so hot. I don't have an indoor spray box. Which once I get the studio renovated, I will probably be able to put one in. But I have not been able to do that as of yet. So I have to go outside and prime, and that's why you see a little bit of a discrepancy in the priming, because they temperature just really wasn't the right temperature to prime, so that the primer did not adhere to the model the way it really should have. So I'm just kind of making the best of it and trying to do some painting tricks and working with it to try and make it a better idea or a better situation. But it's not. They're unfortunately a little lackluster in some regards, but I think I'm making the best of it, because right now I think that Rasputin is looking real nice, real good. And has the right amount of character for him. So we're going to definitely take a look and see what that looks like. But I am excited. I mean, in general, I do like the way that the Hellboy pieces are coming out. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, guys, out there. If you like them, are you... I don't know if people are playing the Hellboy game or have played the Hellboy board game. You know what your thoughts are on it. I'm realizing as I'm getting, and maybe it's as I'm getting older, I'm really enjoying the cooperative board game genre. I really like co-op board games where you're working together as a team. So if you guys look what I'm doing, I'm just trying to do like shooting energy coming out since he's doing like a summoning. So I'm just trying to make like almost like energy cracks in the floor. So it looks like energy is flowing through him or from him. You guys can see what I'm doing there. And then I'm probably going to use, the Space Wolf gray. I like that gray because it's like a darker gray to do the rest of it. I'm using this Artifice brush, which is a Games Workshop brush. You guys can see. And so what I'm doing is now I'm just really blocking out the I'm blocking out my colors so that I have all the colors on the base that I want. And then I'm going to do a little bit more variation. Because obviously once I get that all painted, it may not come off the same way as it did before. So I'm gonna emphasize that blue a little bit more. And you guys will see how I'll do that in a minute. But right now I'm just blocking out all of the color. But yeah, it's like everybody, it's like kind of everybody disappeared a little bit, and that's kind of scary to me. I'm hoping that like Twitch or somebody didn't like ban me or like change my audience or something. That would be really not cool. I mean, I would think that they'd have to send you a notice or something if like you got a complaint against you or something, but I don't know these days because we don't have, so many places don't even have the people on staff that we need to talk to for stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know how that works now. But I hope not. I hope that's not the case. So you guys can see what the base sort of looks like. And then like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna play with emphasizing that blue a little bit more. What I'm doing now is I'm just kind of going in and patting in the blue so I can darken it, and two, just make sure that any gaps or holes that I had, I'm blending those colors together, because then I'm gonna do just a slight bit more texture on it. So you can see already taking a nice shape. And you guys will see what I'm going to do to make that very comic bookish feel on that base. And we're going to start working on that right now. Once I get, we're going to work a little bit with the hands first to get Rasputin exactly where I want him to be. Just noticed some areas that I didn't paint properly. So rule of thumb, whenever you're using contrast paints, at least my rule of thumb is I always make sure that all my lids are closed, because contrast paint, if it spills, it becomes a really, really bad situation. So you guys can see how our Rasputin is coming out. I mean, he's pretty much done. I may just do a little bit more embellishing, but yeah, he's pretty much done. I mean, he's a pretty simple character. He's got very few doesn't have a lot of color to him, so it's really easy to paint him. This black, I think, has definitely had its better days. Just gonna make sure that all of this is touched up properly. Problem with the black is that the black is a little bit shiny, so it when you're hitting it with different light, there's definitely moments when I'm looking at it that I think it's not painted, and then I look at it again and it is 100% painted. It just doesn't look that way when I look at it for one split second. Again, just making sure that I am 100% in good shape here. You guys can see very clearly what's going on there. Alright, look, it's looking real good. Now I'm just gonna put a little bit of black on the bottom here. So all I'm doing is just painting the other side of it black, so that we don't see any of the base of the model under there. Not that many people are going to look at it. If you're holding it, you definitely wouldn't have seen it. But I would have known it was there, and so I'm just painting it. Like I said, nobody else would know it was there except me. Oh shoot, I think I don't know how water got in there, but that's annoying. So what I want to do basically now on the bottom is I want to do a little inking technique. So what you guys are seeing me doing is just putting a little bit of black to give a little bit of emphasis to the edges of the energy that I want on the bottom. So you can see how I'm doing it. It's just so what that's going to do is it's going to emphasize that shape. And again, I wanted to give it a very graphic feel because, as I said before, I'm trying to give these characters a little bit of a Mignola touch. So I want that Mike Mignola Hellboy-ish feel. To come through, so they're going to have very graphic looking bases. I'm just putting like little spark effects and other little things in there so it looks, again, a little bit more like energy. So now it looks like he's summoning energy from the ground, like channeling it into himself, which is kind of what I wanted. Now, I was thinking of doing it where I would have it go up through the cloak, but I don't like that. I didn't like that as much. And I like these dreary sort of I like having the base be a little bit more of the kinds of colors that you see in the Hellboy comic. So it's got that very traditional Hellboy feel. Gotta fix that hand. I'm trying to think if I want to do anything. No. Just put a little bit. Just to give the beard one more dimension. There we go. Just put a little bit of black in the beard. Oops, sorry. I'll put a little bit of black in the beard, not a lot. Because I don't want the beard to go too black, because then it's just black, 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 black. Like the whole thing is going to be black, and I don't want that. That's part of why I did the gray on the arms. Like, it's just too much black. I think that's looking real good. Now, I don't know why, but my light is sort of... my light is like blowing out the model a little bit. I don't know why it's doing that, but fix that with some black. I went a little too overzealous with the just trying to give some touch up to that cape. Like I said, it's really, really hard because the light is reflecting off of it very, very well. But I think Rasputin is a done deal, guys. So I'll show off Rasputin in all of his glory. But I think the base, I'm really happy with the way the base came out. Again, I like the variation that we did on the cloak. Maybe he's not done. His hands have to be darker anyway. Just getting his hands done, guys. Sorry. And then I like to paint the bottom of hands. I'm a big fan of that. Anytime there's a seam, I like to do a highlight there, because it will make, what it does is if you do that, it makes your model look a little bit more three-dimensional. So if you do those highlights on the hands, it actually makes your hands feel like they're sort of sitting, so that it makes it look like they're recessed. So you'll see, like when you look at it, when you look at the model from the angle, you'll see it looks recessed. But Rasputin, I think, Jesus, not focusing. Rasputin, I think, is very done, guys. I really like the way that the energy on the base came out. So I'm going to put him in my done pile. Maybe not done yet. Yeah, I think Rasputin is finished now. He's got a good look to him. He looks like he's summoning, channeling energy. I really like how that's coming out. It's weird in lower light. Is it where I put the No, it's just the way. It's just weird. It plays a trick on you when you look at it a certain way. But I think it looks fine. Okay. So I'm going to get one more model for us. I think I'm going to start another one. Yeah, I'm noticing these guys are Autofill primer. Like I said, with the whole like Hellboy game pieces, because my primer had such an issue, I think that's playing a role in a little bit of the paint. Not to say that the paint's bad, but I think we're gonna paint Liz next. What time are we at? We'll paint for another like 15 minutes. I'll make this video an hour, and then we'll go from there. But this is Liz. The priming on her went a little bit better, so she's not as bad. As the other ones were. I think she's got a tan top normally. Just gonna look. Oh, I sort of like that actually. Alright, so maybe I'll go that route. I was going a little too... Okay, so she normally does. Interesting. Alright, cool. So... I like the color scheme that I just saw. It's got a cooler color scheme to it. Like I said, if you guys like what you've been seeing, please think about subscribing to the following the channel. Yeah, so they went with, because they're trying to emphasize that, which makes sense. They're trying to emphasize like a lighting effect on her because she's a pyromancer, Liz. So yeah, I always do dungaree jeans in this color. I love doing jeans in this color. This has become my go-to color. This is the Space Wolf gray. If you have any modern characters that have jeans, love using this for all the Walking Dead, which is also a manic games game. I did all of my Walking Dead folks that have jeans with this color. That's my denim color. Yeah, she's probably going to be a fast paint. You can tell already. And then her back. Alright. She's got a belt, so I'm going to guess the belt is a color. Like I said, the priming on her was a little bit better. It was a little bit more even. But we've been having some colder days, so I've been trying to take advantage of that and going out and priming when I can. So I can get a better, because when you don't have that good prime layer, so you see I'm getting this like It's almost like a sandpapery kind of look, and that's not the type of look that you want to have when you're talking about painting models, because you're going to get that texture underneath your model. What I should have done, which I didn't do, is I should have sanded down the model before I started painting, and then I could get rid of that. But not to say that I didn't want these guys to be good painted, because I think they're still going to come out good. But they are game board pieces more so than like model, like weapon like army models. So I'm gonna go for, you know, the same level of intense painting that I always do, but I'm being a little bit more generous with it. They're also a lot smaller scale, so not to say it's harder to get some of the detail, but it's kind of a little challenging to get some of the detail in there, because these are much smaller scale. And I'm going to go to my magnifying glass because I want to not mess up her skin tone, which I have a feeling I'm going to mess up in a minute. Now what I'm going to have to do, I think, like I've done before, is I'm probably going to have to do the Gilliman and then come back in later, because Gilliman has a tendency to dry very dark. So I usually have to come in and I have to mix it with white and do a little bit more lightening up. So I kind of let this be a base coat, and then I come back in and just re-put in some highlights. The only problem is, and I was afraid of this when I was priming it, I think the prime, like I said, unfortunately I had to prime these on days where it was a little bit warmer where I lived outside, so the temperature was very high. So you really shouldn't prime models when it's that high temperature. Because what will happen is you will get it won't. Oh wait, whoops, she's got like a collar, right? Yeah, it's black. All right, that's fine. I painted it, but you know what, I won't. That'll be good because there won't be any mess ups. All right. Yeah, I think that's also part of the shirt. And is she wearing gloves? Yeah, she's wearing black gloves. Oh, she's got black hair. I thought she had red hair. I think she's got brown hair, if I'm not mistaken. No. Do I want to do snake bite? I might want to do snake bite. I'm not sure though. Let's see. Snake bite. Do I want to do snake bite leather on her hair? Just to give it a little bit more of a brownish black. The skeleton ward is going to be too light. Well, I'll need the blood red for the fire in a minute. Or no, actually, I'll need the orange. It's going to be orange and better. Where's Gilliman? Where's Snakebite? I don't know my balance like in the right place. Alright. Okay, I guess I'll use snakebite for her hair. I was gonna try not to, but I think it's gonna be the right brown. It's a little too brown. She's got more of like a blackish hair. It might be a little too light, that brown. Sorry guys, I know I'm like all over the place when I'm painting tonight. Yeah. I mean, it looks really nice when the hair is in there. I mean, it's a really, the snakebite color is just so nice. And then I think we're going to give her that same in the boots department. But like I said, this model is really hurting, I think, a lot from, unfortunately, my priming. It sucks because it's become so hard to find primer. I don't know if you guys are finding that same issue in your own projects, but for me, it's actually become now scarce to find white primer. So, not that I didn't want to reprime these, but I kind of want, I kind of can't reprime anything because I sort of don't have primer left. I'm trying to use my primer very sparingly. So when I had the issue with the weather not cooperating, and I saw in particular these guys, and how they didn't prime as well, I said, well, I'll just have to make the best do what I got and try to just do what I can do. So I'm going to paint them up as good as I can. Not cut any corners, not make them look bad. Sorry, I'm going back to our Rasputin because I think I know what's wrong with him. It took me a minute to see it. There we go. So just to show you guys what I had to do to the Rasputin. It was his eyes. So I gave him those light blue eyes. And when I did that, I had to go and paint above the eyes. And that's what was wrong with him. Because then it really brings out... Oh, I think I used the wrong one, though. I think I used the snakebite leather. That's okay. It's okay because it's inside of the eye, so it's okay if that's a little darker. These models are not going to look good because the primer really screwed up the bottom of this. Jesus. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to fix it. Yeah, it looks really bad. Alright, well. It may also be just the mold. I don't know. Because basically, what's supposed to happen when you use the contrast paints is you're supposed to see it go into the crevice of the detail. It's supposed to give you that nice look, and it's supposed to cling to all those little grooves and stuff. I'm not really seeing that happen because I think the primer clogged a lot of the grooves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to go in, and I've done this on other models before. I'm going to have to go in and be a little bit more, I may have to fix her on a grander level. I'll probably have to be a little bit more selective with how I paint her so I can exaggerate the details. So it looks a little better. But we'll get it done. It won't look bad. In the end, she won't look bad, like I've done with all of them. But I'm going to have to work probably just a little bit harder on a couple of parts, just because of the level of what happened with the model. It's not anybody's fault. It's looking better, but I'm gonna have to go in there and do a little bit of work to get it to look, the way I want it to look. Yeah, it's not gonna look exactly the way I want it to look right away. I'm gonna have to do some work to make it look that way. That's okay. And I'm going with the paint scheme that I saw on here, which what they did was, so they went a little bit, it's kind of an interesting way to go for it. They went with a more overall, like, greenish tint to her jacket. And the idea there is that she's setting ablaze her arm. So it's the green is really the if you think about it, if she has a tan jacket on, it would reflect the fire as more of a greenish color on the tan. So I'm gonna play with that. I kind of like it being a green jacket. It's kind of interesting, and it differentiates her from Hellboy. So I kind of like that. So as a player, like if you're playing the game, you know right away that like she's your piece. So I think I'm gonna go with that. But you can see her, she's coming together pretty fast. The nice thing about these particular models, I will say, is that they're pretty quick to paint, especially because you're using that contrast, because they made the molds very, very textured. So there's a lot of like folds in the jackets. There's a lot of like nice details. So the contrast really picks up those details pretty nice, pretty fast. So you don't really have a lot of figuring out to do with this, which is a nice thing too. If you guys have comments or questions, please don't hesitate to throw those up. We got quite a lot more of these minis to paint because of course the idea is that I want to get these all painted so we can actually review the damn game because I am dying to play this game. I'm dying to go full review because like I said, I'm really starting to love these cooperative board games. And that is what this is. So these are minis from the Hellboy board game. And it's like a dungeon quest, dungeon crawler kind of board game where you're all playing, you're all playing bureau agents from the Bureau of Paranormal, I always forget what it's called. The Bureau of Paranormal something or other. I don't remember it now. Wow, that's great. But you have Abe Sapien, you have Hellboy, you have Liz, and you have I always forget what his name is. He's the ghost guy. The German ghost guy. That he is essentially a ghost inside of a combat fatigues, so he can actually like turn into ghost vapors. He's a pretty cool character. But yeah, so those are the starting characters in the box, the beginning box set, and then of course there are many expansions. And what I like about this game is that they are very comic centric. So it is very much, it is the traditional Hellboy comic. You're not, it's not the movie version of Hellboy. It's not any of the movie incarnations. It is the straight Hellboy comic. So, and all the characters are done in that style. And they have some really cool expansions. They have where Hellboy takes his time in Mexico, where he goes down to Mexico and actually investigates cases there. They have all of the main bad guys from the series and from the comic book, so it is super duper cool. They've done, and I like how they've also done for con exclusives. They actually have done like Krampus and Baba Yaga. So they've done like all of those types of characters too as like expansion packs for the game. And they have quite a few expansion packs coming out in September. So again, I want to thank Mantic Games for hooking me up with these pieces and with this stuff so I can review and hang out with you guys doing this stuff. And I can't wait. I'm waiting for even more model kits from Mantic Games. So they're going to hopefully be sending me a few more things so that I can continue to review their new products. Specifically, their new Abyssal Dwarves for Kings of War and some of the new Goblin pieces, because they're redoing their whole Goblin army, which I'm really looking forward to seeing how that looks. Yeah, they got a lot of stuff coming out. They got a lot of so with the fire stuff, I'm trying to sort of pick where I want the orange, because I want to fade it from orange to yellow in there. Just gonna take like a couple, like 2 veins on either side, and I'm just gonna repeat here and then I'll twist in the yellow now for the rest of them. And like I said before, if you guys are enjoying the video, consider following the channel so you know when we're live, and when I'll be doing not only more painting, but more video game reviews. We just did a bunch of Avengers Weekend stuff, so if you're a comic book fan and want to see that, you can take a look after you're done watching this video. Go through and watch some of those other videos. I got a good look at that beta and what that was all about this weekend, which was kind of cool, since it was the beta weekend for it. And you definitely want to follow us because the game actually drops next week, and I'll be getting the PS4 version of the game, which means I'll have early access to the only Spider-Man. So that'll be pretty cool. Yeah, for PS4 players, they're actually giving you Spider-Man early. And also, I believe I will have also early access to actually playing the game. I think for PS4 folks, you can get the game. You can get the game slightly earlier. You get an earlier release. The whole thing is all fire. I don't think there's any part of it that's not. So you can see her shooting the fire out there, and I faded that. It's hard because you have a lot of things going on. It's actually, you got wrinkles on a jacket, you have fire going on. So there's a lot to pay attention to when you're painting this. So you gotta really check out what you're doing. Now traditionally I would have waited for I should have really waited until that orange dried before Sorry, I'm just trying to find like the very edge of that flame, and then I'll come back in with the green to get that going. You can see already it looks really, really cool, and it looks even better against that green, I think. Yeah, these are coming along a lot faster than I thought they were going to. So that's good. Like Liz, I'm probably going to have her done by the next session, which is great because then I can start painting maybe some of the minions. Because there are quite a lot of different creepy crawly kinds of monsters. I was going to do it in this color. Let's do it in one of the browns. said it before, the scale is so small on these guys. They remind me a lot of the Walking Dead models. The scale that they use is just so you know what, we're gonna go with it. We're gonna leave it because that wasn't dry yet, and I'm actually gonna leave that because it actually provides a really cool effect. I'm gonna let that be. It gives this really cool effect, like the fire is coming into her glove, or it's coming out of her glove. So I'm gonna leave that be. I'm gonna let that just be a happy accident, where the fire kind of engulfs the glove a little bit more than it's supposed to. Alright, I think we're going to call it quits for tonight. I think we got really far on Liz. I'm happy the progress we made here. It looks like we'll have that be where we pick up when we come back to do some more painting on these guys. I'm actually going to jump to some Marvel Crisis Protocol, so I give everybody some love, because I know some folks love seeing the Marvel stuff. Some people love seeing the Walking Dead stuff. They love seeing the Manic Game stuff, so I'm going to give you guys, I'm going to try to do some more, at least do a painting video every day, so you can see me working on different things, because as I've said multiple times, I have a lot of painting stuff to get done. So there is plenty to paint. Alright, thank you guys for watching as always, and this is, again, the Modern Geek, also known as Vamp Mario, coming at you live. I want to say again a thank you to Mantic Games for supplying me with a copy of the Hellboy board game and giving me some great time with getting some really cool models painted and just going in some different directions with those models in just my way and the way I want to do it. And also I look forward to continuing to review a lot of their products and walking through that. Again, if you guys like what you saw, please consider following the channel. If you're watching this after the fact and did like the content, please consider following. In addition to that, if you liked what you saw, think about maybe going and checking out the other videos that are on the channel. You could also check us out at YouTube under Modern Geek Gaming, which you may see most of the same videos at the current moment, but eventually I'll be putting up some different content there and different content on Twitch as well. It's also a place to go see older Twitch videos, because I upload them to YouTube as well. You can also check out the links below. Are both from my own website as well as my Patreon. Those are some monetary ways to support the channel. It goes a long way if you jump on and support my Patreon. All that money goes back into the channel for better equipment, materials, the products that I actually review and look at, because unlike Mantic Games, not many other companies send me product to review. So please, if you could support monetarily, that really helps and goes a long way. And of course, if you can if you can support in that way, it will allow me to open up other avenues of offering merchandise and other things that I want to do, and allow me to do this on a more permanent basis. Support my family, support my kids, all that good stuff, and help with the, help me with the costs of updating and upgrading the studio, so we can bring even more content like full battle reports, gameplay videos, different things that I'm looking to do in the near future to develop content for you guys. So thank you all for watching as always, and if you are big fans, again, my Patreon, it supports me as an artist. I am a comic book artist and illustrator. There's original comic book stories and art that I'm doing on that Patreon, so if you really love comic books and love Hellboy and things like that, give it a check it out. You can check out my art on my website as well, and it's a great way to support the channel, like I said. But of course, even better and free and doesn't cost anything, because I know right now it might be a little tough to even do $1 or $5 or even $8 a month. Sure, guys. Ugh, I'm so sorry. You can definitely subscribe to the channel, follow the channel, share out the content, share it to others, so they can also enjoy the cool things that are out there and what's going on. and get us in other areas for other folks to maybe be able to support in those other ways. You, again, are welcome to come back and see us, and I hope you do. Love to get your comments, your thoughts, and what you're working on. You can add comments or even reply to me in the comments here. If there's some cool things that you're working on, I'd love to know. And if you have experience with the Hellboy board game, what's your favorite part about it, or what do you love about it? And again, Mantic, thank you so much. See you guys in the next video. Again, please stay safe, wash your hands, and make sure you respect everybody on this planet, because without everybody working together, we're not going to do much else but succeed. We can only succeed if everybody works together, and we can only succeed if we respect and honor all those folks. All right, take care, everybody. See you at the next video.